Today on Erix Reviews, we're taking a look at Jurassic Park 3, the final installment in what we can call the first Jurassic Park trilogy, the Origins trilogy, if you will, which once again finds Dr. Alan Grant on an island off the coast of Costa Rica, accompanied by a group of people who all try to avoid becoming dinosaur food. The film stars Sam Neill returning to the series after skipping out on part 2, and Laura Dern also returns, though she's barely in it to be honest. The rest of the principal cast is made up of William H. Macy, Téa Leoni, Alessandro Nivola, Trevor Morgan, and Michael Jeter. Directing duties this time around fall to Spielberg's good friend, Joe Johnston. Let's take a look. Legend has it that when Jurassic Park first came out, Joe Johnston was so thrilled by it, he asked his good friend Steven Spielberg if he could take a crack at directing the sequel. Spielberg answered, "You know what, Joe, I think I want to go ahead and do that sequel myself, but tell you what, why don't you go ahead and do the third one if I don't feel like it? Does that sound like a plan?" Presumably Johnston said yes to that, and so 4 years after The Lost World had come and gone, and the time was ripe for Jurassic Park number 3, Spielberg had indeed had his fill, and said, "Joe, here you go." And so, almost a decade after Joe Johnston had watched and thrilled to Jurassic Park and wanted to make one of those, he finally got his chance, and the result is basically a movie that feels very much like an afterthought. Very much like, well, I really wanted to do this about 10 years ago, right? So here we go, let's do it. Spoken in exactly that unenthusiastic monotone. You know what I mean? It's sort of like when you spend years and years pining for your one true love, and then maybe fortune smiles upon you, and you get to be with him or her, and you realize the real thrill was in the hunt, in the idealization of what could be, rather than in actually having it. And well, so it is. It's kind of weird and sad, to be perfectly honest, because objectively speaking, there's nothing particularly wrong here. Like, at all. Joe Johnston is a very competent director of big-ticket cinema, and this has a very solid cast of character actors, just like the previous 2 films. And it was written, or maybe just doctored, I don't know, by Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor. And sure, some of that dialogue is actually pretty good thanks to them, I'm sure. And of course, the special effects are great. They're better than ever up to this point. Something else? The movie is fucking short. It's over and done with in just over 90 minutes. The credits begin rolling at about the 87-minute mark. It's a goddamn miracle. And think about what that really means. It's a 90-minute film that has to establish its premise. A couple of people go missing on Dinosaur Island off the coast of Costa Rica. Then William H. Macy and his ex-wife Téa Leoni have to enlist Sam Neill to go to the island to help in finding the missing people. Then you have to get to the island, and there has to be scary monster movie carnage and action-adventure set pieces, and yes, this movie has all that. I think Alan Grant and company get to the island no later than the 15-minute mark, and from that point on, it's basically running around and screaming for the next 79 minutes. And yet, the movie just kind of sits there. It's really strange. But you get the sense that everyone involved just went through the motions and got it over with because it had to be done. Not out of any sense of enthusiasm for what they could do. And essentially what we end up with is a very kind of joyless condensation of what we got the first 2 times. A bunch of people on a Central American island running away from dinosaurs. The dinosaurs look even better, and the film has the bright plastic sheen of blockbuster cinema, courtesy of cinematographer Shelley Johnson. And Don Davis orchestrates the familiar themes established by John Williams. It has all the elements. And yet, you know what it feels like? It feels like a quickie direct-to-video sequel put out by MCA Home Entertainment. Oh, of course it has better production values than something like Darkman 3, Die, Darkman, Die, but it still has that basic ethos. This obligatory thing they just decided to throw out there because they thought they should and they knew they could. But it's ultimately not something anyone needed or really wanted, and it was made precisely with that level of enthusiasm. Like the whore that just lays there and says, "Hurry up, will you? I've got 3 other stops tonight." Yes, it's a whore movie. There you go. That's what it is. Ultimately, I think it evidences there's only so many trips you can make to this well, and it makes perfect sense why they had to wait about 15 years and change things up a bit, or at least get us to really miss it, before going up the hill with their pails of water again. Hey, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel and share the video. There's going to be some cool stuff coming to the channel, so you're going to want to keep track of it, and I hope you like all that stuff too. See ya.